couple of years. Could he end up at Old Trafford?
54 goals in 52 games. It's quite staggering numbers, isn't it? It really is. But look, when Ruben Amorim arrived at Manchester United, we're talking about Gyokeres. There's contact via his intermediaries, but I don't know. This is an interesting one here. There's talk about this €100 million release clause. Gyokeres has then gone to social media basically saying don't believe all you read. But the two clubs you keep hearing, Manchester United, Arsenal, but then Arsenal looking at Benjamin Sesko as well. But again, we have to stress that we expect a very, very, very busy few weeks here transfer-wise. But clubs aren't under any pressure as it stands. Although what I would say is that clubs are always very keen to get these players in before they go on their long-haul pre-season tours. So I do expect I do expect this kind of movement maybe in the next week or so.
Manchester United are interesting at the moment because they're basically revitalising the front three. We know that Ruben Amorim wants to play with two 10s, he wants to play with a number 9. They've got Matheus Cunha in, and Bomo looks like one. Could one of these two be the number 9? And that would be a completely new look strike force for Manchester United. But it's just about piecing the puzzle together and getting the players in for the fees that the clubs are comfortable with. Victor Gyokeres is a player that I watch so much, and you probably remember talking about him on Soccer Specials and Soccer Saturdays because he used to score for fun at Coventry. I think he's outstanding. So much interest in him. You feel like this is the summer he'll get the big move back to the Premier League. If it doesn't happen now, it might not happen. And I think he knows that as well.
And also, just finally, but this is a Manchester United who aren't in Europe next season. But will they have any issues with a player saying, no, I need to be in Europe, I need to be in Europe? This is Manchester United we're talking about. That's what intrigues me as well.
I don't think that's a problem.
I don't either.
You look at Cunha, Mbomo, Hugo Ekitike, Victor Gyokeres, the players that they're being linked with clearly don't feel that one season out of Europe is a problem because they'll back themselves to say, I tell you what, if I go to Manchester United with all those players, we'll definitely be in Europe.
Get the old Sky remote, go back to Mbuemo, we rewind it a little bit because they could be having that conversation. Thomas Frank, you are in the Champions League with me. Anyway, that's for 7.
Nice tease. What's the latest on that one, Darms?
United are definitely interested. It's our understanding that they have made initial contact, but via intermediary. So there hasn't actually been club-to-club contact between Manchester United and Sporting. But the Sporting president, he's been having his say because there's been all sorts of reports suggesting that Gyokeres has been promised he could leave for around £60 million because he stayed on at Sporting for last season. Well, the president has firmly denied that and assured every Sporting fan and warned rather than assured every interested party that Victor Gyokeres will not be going to leave Sporting Lisbon for 59 or 60 million pounds. So he will be going for more money than that. The noises again coming out of Portugal is that Victor Gyokeres is not happy about that because he thought he had a gentleman's agreement about being able to go for less money, so it would be easier for him to do so. This one looks like it can rumble on, but you can understand the interest from United, that it's a priority position that they want to fill, and I'm told they want to fill it regardless of whether Rasmus Højlund stays at United or not. And maybe it could be beneficial to someone like Rasmus Højlund as well. I know he's been heavily criticised in the 2 seasons he's been at United, but in his defence, he didn't have a pre-season when he arrived, and his second pre-season, where he started really, really well in that pre-season, was curtailed because of a hamstring injury. And then he rejoined the group, having missed the majority of that second pre-season. And then at, 20 years old when he arrived, he's expected to lead the line of one of the biggest football clubs in the world. And having had no previous experience of the Premier League and made 12 starts, I think, for Atalanta the previous season. So maybe a risk from United, but surely they needed to bring in someone who had more experience. Maybe they see Gyokeres as that player.
I'm going to ask you both a two-pronged question, and then this is how it's going to work. So clearly Gyokeres and Mbumo, and they've got Cunha over the line already. I'm going to ask you, Sam, if you think signing those 3 players makes them top 4 contenders next season, or if they're still short. And then, Darmash, I'm going to ask you if it's actually going to be possible for them to do the hat-trick and get the 3 top targets. So, Sam, firstly to you, if Cunha, Mbumo and Victor Gyokeres are all walking out for Manchester United in Manchester United shirts next season, are they top 4 contenders?
I would probably shade no for now, on the basis that, yeah, obviously it's a huge upgrade in quality in the forward areas, which was badly needed. But you have to remember that United have changed tact this summer and have started to target clearly slightly more experienced and proven players in that sort of 24, 25 age range. Up until this summer, they have tried very hard to focus on youth. They've done a good job of furnishing the under-17, under-18s with some of the best players in the country. And they've signed players like Patrick Dorgu and Lenny Yoro, whose best years are well on the horizon, 2-3 years away. So while the attack looks really good on paper with those three, the rest of the team probably needs a little bit more time, needs more reps, needs more matches, probably needs a couple of years to catch up. Unless, of course, Pete, they just keep spending and they keep buying quality in those areas too. But right now, it will feel a bit like one half of the team is ready to go, ready to rock, and the other half of the team is still learning and catching up to that level. And that will create an imbalance that probably means they're not one of the top 4 teams.
Well, okay, Darmesh, second question, Manchester United fans will blow all ears here. Can they do the hat-trick? Can they get Cunha, Mbeumo and Gyokeres in this window?
Look, they've had much publicised financial issues, have Manchester United, and Sir Jim Ratcliffe even said as much in some of his interviews. It doesn't mean that Manchester United went into this transfer window with £0 as their budget for transfers. Clubs will be run, all right, we've got this much for transfers, we've got this much for restructuring and whatever else they're budgeting for. And yes, the optics haven't looked great from a Manchester United perspective with regard to the number of redundancies and the number of jobs that have been lost. However, the understanding we have is that players like Cunha and Mbeumo, that's part of the budget that Manchester United have to spend in this summer transfer window. When you go further with regard to Gyokeres, so if you think about how it's worked out so far, they've brought in Cunha already. They've made a bid for the money to be able to do that deal. Whereas with Gyokeres, it's just been an approach to intermediaries to explore the conditions of a deal. And then to come back with that information and say, what do we need to do to be able to fund a deal like this one? And the feeling is that after Cunha, and if Mbeumo was to arrive, they're going to have to start looking at sales at Manchester United to be able to fund the rest of their transfer window, which shouldn't come as a surprise. But if you look at the players that they're targeting in regard to Mbeumo and Cunha, you would expect them to play in these number 10 roles that Ruben Amorim favours in his formation. Now, if you look at the players that are at Manchester United in their current squad who may not be suited to that role, but have been playing in that role, you're looking at the likes of Marcus Rashford when he was there, Jadon Sancho possibly, Garnacho and Anthony, and they all look like they are up for sale. Now, United's preference would be to get permanent deals for those players, and doing a quick bit of maths, if you were to calculate if they were miraculously able to sell all 4, you're looking at about 100 to 125 million pounds all in, I would suggest.
And about $1 million a week off the wage bill, probably too.
Yeah. So, savings there as well. But those would be the players that they would be happy to allow to leave. But I think as far as a preference being a permanent deal, I think they would still have to look at loans for these players because of the wages that they're on. And that would then have an impact on the type of transfer window that Manchester United can have. I think United fans are getting really excited here, because they've suddenly seen, wow, straight away, Matheus Cunha's come in. Straight away, Mbeumo, there's a bid in, and they're going to go back in for him. Gyokeres, they're interested in him. Just bring him in, just bring him in, just bring him in. Whereas before the window started, all the talk was, this is a 3 or 4 transfer window revolution for Manchester United. But because they've done one deal so early and potentially getting another one over the line very early, United fans are thinking, they're in the league here if they get this right. So I think they just need to take a step back, because there still needs to be outgoings before they can fully